Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Jeremy Schumacher. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm the Jer in Wellness with Jer. Thanks for stopping by and checking out my channel. Today, we are back with another movie review. My eldest son is in school, and we got one at home still. And so we're on winter break, and we've been doing movies and stuff. So I've consumed more media than usual, so I have some reviews to catch up on. So one of the movies I watched with my boys, which is going to flavor my review of it tremendously, is the Mario movie. It's on Netflix right now, which helps a lot. My youngest son is not at the age where I would take him to a movie, but he will sit through a movie at home. My older son's really into movies. We've been playing Mario old school on the NES, and we have Super Mario Brothers on the Wii. So my oldest is like, he gets it. He can play. He has fun. He plays all right. And my youngest is like, let's do power ups. So in my family, we've been doing a lot of Mario on break, and so the Mario movie getting added Netflix was cool for us. So we got to watch it. So it's a movie about a video game. This might be one of my shorter reviews. There's not a ton there. I will say, along with like the Sonic movie, this movie for me was like better than I thought it should be, while being pretty basic because it's drawing from a video game in the 80s. Sonic, I guess, was the 90s. And I said I watched it with my boys, and why I think that matters is because I would have probably said this wasn't a very good movie if I didn't watch it with its target audience, which is children. Like, that's who the movie's for. There was enough in the movie for me as an adult to be like, Rainbow Road. Like, I'm not a huge Mario person. I didn't grow up with video games. I was fairly poor growing up. So my introduction to a lot of video games was at friends' houses as I got older for sleepovers and stuff like that. Like playing N64 Mario Kart was like, I was aware of who Mario was because culturally everyone was, but I didn't have an NES. I didn't have a Nintendo growing up. So like I wasn't super familiar. So some of the fan reference stuff and the fan service stuff went over my head. I got the basic stuff. And for me, like as an adult, a lot of animated movies have kind of your kid plot and then like adult jokes tucked away. And that's nice for us parents who are sitting through the same movie over and over and over again. But I don't think Mario really had that. I don't think there was much like innuendo or anything that really went over my kids' head. There were a ton of references that I got that my boys didn't. So I appreciated that. I don't think it was like overwhelming. It didn't seem, I guess I'm not a Mario fan. Don't dislike Mario. I've played the video games. I'm an average Mario consumer. And so like it was good. It was enough for me to be on board. Some things that stood out to my boys that I didn't super notice was, and some of that's age, and some of that's probably how I consume media, I guess. But they really didn't like the bully. There's like a bully in the Bronx, like the Mario brothers are plumbers in the Bronx, and so like there's a bully who's like mean to them, and like both my boys were like aware that Bowser's the bad guy, but very aware that the bully was the bad guy. So like that's just like, I don't know, for me it's interesting to see how different people will consume the media, because Bowser's a bad guy and like he wasn't the standout villain, I guess, because they played the Mario games and like you beat Bowser and it's fine, especially in the Wii version of Super Mario Brothers. Like Bowser's neutered at the end of it, not literally neutered, but like he's, as a villain, he is comical and not scary anymore. I thought some of the movie jokes with Bowser were funny, like the opening scene where the penguins are gonna fight back against Bowser, and then like throwing a snowball against a flame spewing dinosaur turtle isn't gonna do anything. I also didn't know a lot of Mario lore, I guess. Like, is Bowser, he's technically a turtle? He's an amorphous amphibian. I guess I kind of always thought of him as a dragon, which just might be a me thing. Tiny neurodivergent child who was missing a lot of social cues everybody else was picking up on. Other things about the movie that I thought were like well done is I'm a sucker for a brother story. My older brother is my favorite family member. Should feel worse saying that out loud than I do, but it's true and factual. Outside of my wife and my boys, my brother's my favorite person. He's 8 years older than me. We shared a room growing up. I'm sure I annoyed him in lots of ways, being his little brother. But he was always very cool to me, and we got along great. We never fought growing up. We don't fight as adults. It's not just hyperbole. I'm prone to hyperbole, but like, so he's a very meaningful person in my life. And so movies about brothers or brotherhood, like Onward, Chris Pratt apparently is on the brother trend too, because he was one of the voices of Onward, which I think is a good movie about brothers. And the Super Mario Brothers movie, also very much a brothers theme, in that Mario and Luigi are looking out for each other. I really liked how the storyline wasn't to save Peach, which is you're rescuing Peach in the video games. Peach was fine. Peach was fine without Mario. She did not need saving. And sure, you can be like, oh, what are we teaching kids that not the patriarchy? But like, right, good. We shouldn't teach the patriarchy. Let's all actively work to dismantle it. So Peach being not needing her help, not needing Mario's help, and Mario's story being about rescuing Luigi, it worked. Like it fit for the movie. Mario and Peach had similar goals in mind for different reasons, and so they worked together as opposed to the dudes coming in and saving the day. So I liked that. It wasn't overbearing. It wasn't heavy-handed. It was just like Peach is running a kingdom. She's the I think they kind of did it as elected leader, but like she's royalty and she's very talented in a lot of ways, and she can defend her own kingdom and she cares about her people. So, it didn't dismantle like the feudal system or anything. Like we didn't get into like royalties, kind of a yucky concept, but like I'm glad it wasn't the boys come in and save the girls. But it was very much heavy on the brothers. Mario wanted to help Luigi. Luigi had to overcome some of his own fears and anxieties and grow as a character. Mario had to do some growing as well. Again, like I'm projecting a little bit to say like the movie had more to say than it did. It was a video game movie. But as far as like watching how my boys processed it, I think like that was good. That like my oldest, Silas, who's like, Peach was really smart and she solved a lot of problems. Like, cool. Like, I'm glad that's the message he's getting from it. She tricked Bowser. Like, yes, she did. She saved herself from Bowser, not the other way around. Not Mario saved her. So, like, that's good. I liked that. And so that was good. Bowser's villainy, he's imperialistic and occupying lands that don't belong to him, and that's villainous. He's taking over these worlds, and like again, that makes sense in how the Nintendo game works. So like, right, you have to go through these different worlds, the different lands to eventually rescue Peach. That's the video game. So like, yes, he's a bad guy, but like ultimately, like as I was watching it, the thing that made him the bad guy, besides taking other people's lands, which is bad, let's stop occupying places that don't belong to us. He's like nice guy syndrome. And I talked about this a little bit in a previous video. I don't know that I really like made it make sense, because I think if you're not on the internet, you don't always see some of the memes and some of the nice guy culture. But like he was in love with Peach. He was in love with the idea of Peach, and he didn't know her or have any sort of genuine connection or relationship with her. And so I see this a lot. I see this a lot in the internet. What I see in therapy, in my therapy office, is like an idealized version of like a relationship or a family. People are in love with the idea. I call it the fireplace family or the mantle family. Like it's the picture. It's your family picture that you get framed and you put on the mantle of your fireplace. It's not 24/7 how your family actually is. And so there are people who fall in love with the idea, the presentation of family. Bowser was in love with the idea of being with Peach without acknowledging she's her own person. She has her own ideas and personality, and their goals aren't aligned. So she doesn't want to be in a relationship with him, and she gets to choose that. And so he's kind of like the nice guy syndrome, or kind of like falling in love with an idea instead of the reality. And then like following his delusion, like, right, he leads armies of people to take over lands for his love that isn't returned. And like, yeah, that's bad. Forced marriages, also bad. Like enthusiastic consent is what we're looking for in relationships. So like, yeah, Bowser's a nice guy, has nice guy syndrome. He's not a nice guy, and he's a villain. There's good and evil. It's a movie for children. Let's tell a simple story. But I thought that was interesting because, again, that's kind of like where, I don't know, I don't want to say like culture is at, but like, yes, there's like the tropey character from a foreign land who's going to rob or steal or hold hostages or whatever. Like, there's that trope, and that's a bad guy. And then, real life villains are like Joe Manchin, who's a senator who's beholden to the oil lobby and owns a yacht, and then is like making sure that kids don't get free lunches for school. And like, that's actual evil and villainy. And then, in the comic book world or the video game world, like some blend of like nuanced, real bad guys, like people who are not respecting other people's rights, a dude who's falling in love with a woman and not treating that woman as a person. Like, right, that's a villain, that's a bad guy. And so it's interesting to kind of see how a kid's movie also starts to have some message around like, right, if you don't respect other people as human beings, that makes you a bad person. Like, that's wrong, that's villainy. So I like that. I thought that was not quite complex. Again, I'm not overselling the Mario movie as like being Oscar worthy or anything like that. There was discourse around the casting when the movie was announced. Like, I don't know that Charlie Day or Chris Pratt have an Italian background. And if we're gonna say like, hey, actors from different countries should be represented by those countries, and that it's good, and we should do that, and representation really matters, then yeah, I don't know that we should be stereotypical about what people from Italian backgrounds in the Bronx sound like, but I also didn't see a ton of follow-up with that discourse, so I don't know if people were just mad about it when the casting got announced. Again, even in preparation for this video, I guess I wasn't so concerned about Italian accents being stereotyped that I don't know, maybe that's a weird conversation about privilege we could have. I'm German American. Most of my family's German background. I'm a bit of a mix, a bit of a mutt on one side of the family. But like, I don't know. I didn't see a lot of criticisms leveled against it that made a lot of sense. I think people are aware that like capitalist societies making movies just tapping into nostalgia that then they can sell video games or action figures off of is growing thin, and like this movie being good enough that it will probably get a sequel sets up for Yoshi. Yoshis are in the background in one scene, so then like Yoshi to not be in the movie was weird, and then like the post-credit scene to hint at Yoshi in a sequel was weird because it's like we saw Yoshis in an earlier scene. What's that about? So I don't know. That seemed like a weird oversight. I don't know what they would do for a sequel, and that's where I think it would be like if they just do this one, fine. If they're gonna do 3, 4, 5 of them, like nah, like the video games are fun because like 2D scrollers are fun. It's a good system for a game. It works great for Nintendo and Nintendo's computing power. They're still fun. They're updating them enough to be entertaining for like the Switch. So like Mario is not going away. We probably don't need a ton of Mario movies. I don't think there's much more story to tell. I love Jack Black. Jack Black, I would say, had the standout performance as Bowser. Obviously, the Peaches song he wrote. But like if you're unfamiliar with Jack Black, like listen to Tenacious D, go watch old YouTube videos of him performing live. Like he's an entertaining human being. So his role as Bowser, like it was entertaining. I didn't love the Peaches song per se, but like I can see how it went viral and he's super entertaining. So I've loved seeing pictures of him in interviews where he's wearing like his full yellow bodysuit and this tiny Bowser shell. And like again, he has fun with it. This is a movie for children. It should be fun. And ultimately, I guess that's kind of where my review lands. It's like I watched it with my boys and they both really liked it. My youngest is 3, so there was a little bit of fear on some of the skeletons attacking Luigi, and there was some concern about the dark land that Bowser was in, but like he was fine. His big brother's very brave, so he got through it okay. But like they enjoyed it. It was a good experience for all of us. As a parent, it wasn't like Baby Shark levels of annoying where I got sick of it. We haven't watched it like over and over and over again. Silas, my oldest, was like, I was like, oh, I might do a review about this movie. What should I say? He's like, it's the best movie I've ever seen. I never want to watch another movie. By which he meant he only ever wants to rewatch that movie. And I think we've watched it once since then, one rewatch so far. So he probably has ADHD like I do. But like, that's how he felt in the moment. That's strongly about it. It's great. He loved it. Fantastic movie. And for a kid's movie, like I'm going to defer to the children to leave the reviews. So my 5-year-old loved it. He likes Mario to begin with. He really liked it. mission accomplished. Hopefully they don't do the capitalistic route. Although I did say the Sonic movies were better than they have any right to be, and I feel like that's true. So ultimately, like, it was good. Peach wasn't a victim. She was very self-sufficient and a hero in her own right, which was cool. The Donkey Kong stuff was fun. The references to the various Mario games were fun. And so, yeah, it was good enough for an adult. I liked the messaging around brothers caring for each other. Onward's another good brother movie. Maybe I should rewatch Onward and do a review of that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a video game movie. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's doing some fan service and telling a entertaining enough story that kids are entertained by it. And it accomplished all of that. So good enough. Fun little romp. It's short. It's like 90 minutes. So 92 minutes, something like that. It's in that hour and a half range. So, like, again, pretty inoffensive, pretty harmless. I think it was fun. It accomplished what it set out to do. And sometimes a movie's not going to give us a ton of mental health stuff to unpack. So the Mario movie, it's fun. If you like Mario, if you grew up playing Nintendo, if you've got little nephews or nieces or kids, like, it's a good one to put on and let them enjoy it. They probably will enjoy it. If you sit down and watch it with them, it's not bad. You won't be bothered by it as an adult. And if you played Mario growing up, you'll get enough of the references where it's fun. So yeah, check it out if you so desire. Like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Trying to grow some things around the Wellness with Jer brand. Looking at starting Patreon, looking at starting getting some merch. So I also have a podcast called Your Therapist Needs Therapy, which is a little bit more hard hitting than my YouTube channel is. The YouTube channel is fun stuff, reviewing kids' movies or songs. And then I talk about, like, some heavier, deeper stuff on the podcast. The podcast's episodes also get put up on YouTube. It's just a podcast, so not the videos. The Patreon subscribers in the future will get the videos of the interviews. But so, and like we're working with a publisher. So, like, some of that stuff is like about the brand and about having big subscriber platforms on social media. So I'm at Wellness with Jer on YouTube here. I'm at Wellness with Jer on Instagram. I blog regularly. So it's at wellnesswithjer.com. So, like, subscribe, share, all this stuff helps. I know every YouTuber everywhere says this. I don't think of myself as a YouTuber. I don't think of myself as a content creator or even a podcaster. But it's one of those things where when you work in the mental health field, this is a way to kind of get good information out to people. For people who want to find me and work with me, that helps. But also for people who therapy isn't accessible for any number of reasons. So it does help. Genuinely, I've kind of been a stick in the mud about content creation and podcasting in general, and just some of the ways that, like, clicks and views and algorithms are slowly eroding our culture. And there's valid criticisms in that, but also I'm trying to be more accepting of, like, hey, like, if there's good information I can share with people, and this is a medium that gets my sharing to a lot more people than people having to come into my office, then that's a good thing. So, like, subscribe. I'm always looking for ideas. That's probably the hardest thing about content creation. I could talk about mental health all day, every day, but pulling a topic out of my hat is harder than you would think when you do it every day. It's almost like everything to me seems, I don't want to say obvious, but, like, it's what I do for a job. So things that might be interesting or that people want to learn more about don't always jump out at me because it's just what I do. So I'm always interested in, if you've got a movie you'd like me to review, songs, anything like that, drop down in the comments. If you check out the podcast, I'm always looking for other people to connect with for the podcast, people who are advocating for mental health resources or stuff. So, and I interview a lot of therapists. So if you want to learn more about therapy or therapeutic topics, check that out too. Ugh, I'm still uncomfortable pitching my own stuff. But thanks for stopping by the channel. Seriously, thank you. I appreciate your time. Take care, everybody. Peace.